Lenses, a therapeutic tale about wholeness. Ostap and Ivan were born into the same Ukrainian family. Under one roof, on the same land, the same hands rocked their cradles. The same songs were sung to them. They ran barefoot to the well and knew the smell of rain before a storm, and the taste of cherries from the garden near the house. They were different, but for a long time they did not know it, because in childhood difference does not divide, it simply exists. When the brothers grew up and stood on the threshold of their parents' home, their parents brought out two wrapped bundles, not as a blessing, not as a trial, but as a guidance. The world is vast, said the father, and not always fair, added the mother. So we give you something that will help you see. But remember, vision is a responsibility. Inside the bundles were lenses. Ostap received the lens of foam. Through it the world became clear. Small things became smaller, large things became larger. Everything had an outline, a boundary, a weight. This lens saw size, usefulness, result. It loved order, and it gave a sense of power. Ivan received a different lens. Through it, forms disappeared, but the inner world became visible. Fear in a glance, warmth in a word, emptiness behind loudness, life even where it barely flickered. This lens did not see with the eyes, it saw with the heart. Before letting their sons go, the mother said, use your lenses to strengthen one another. But remember, without them you are one whole, and with them you are also one. The brothers nodded, and they went. At first, everything worked well. Ostap saw the path, the structure, the plan. Ivan felt where the path was leading. Ostap said, it's narrow here, dangerous here, we must be careful. Ivan added, it hurts here, it's frightening here, warmth is needed. But if we pass through this, there will be a space for possibility ahead. Together they saw more, but over time the world began to press in. Ostap looked more and more only through his own lens. He liked clarity, precision, control. Ivan spoke of depth, of what cannot be measured, of what does not always have form, and Ostap grew irritated. This doesn't matter, he said. What matters is the result. Without meaning, Ivan replied quietly, the result is empty. One day they stood before an industrial machine, a 3D printer that had been producing brick after brick for more than 20 years. Ostap saw profit, scale, correctness, perfect form. Ivan saw exhaustion, wear, broken breath. You complicate everything, said Ostap. It's just a machine. What broken breath? And you oversimplify, Ivan answered. without seeing its state. Scale is unreachable. At that moment, Ivan's lens cracked, softly, almost soundlessly, but the world through it became painful, as if every inner movement cut like glass. Ivan fell silent. He began to ask himself, why? Why does my truth no longer reach anyone? Why is depth no longer needed? What inside me is cracking together with this lens? Years passed, years of life and understanding without the lens. Ivan became quieter, wiser, more present, and one day he came to Ostap. Let's try, he said. Let's look at each other without the lenses, just for a moment. Ostap froze. Without the lens, he lost his power. Without the lens, he did not know who he was. Without the lens, the world became too alive, and he saw that his brother's lens was cracked while his own was not. It seemed to him that he had won. The tension grew. Ivan waited in silence. Ostap believed that only his lens worked clearly and without error. And then a wind of rose. A wind of change rose. Ostap's lens was torn from his face. It fell and cracked as well as if from an overheated system. He saw Ivan without any lens, standing beside him, breathing in the scent of the cherry orchard, like a memory of their parents' home, and the words once spoken there, "Do not forget, you are one whole, with lenses and without." Ivan no longer seemed weak. He was alive, real. Ostap felt his inner tension, not power, not superiority. The world stopped being just form. It hurt, but for the first time it was honest. They stood in silence for a long time. Then, at the same time, they picked up the lenses and handed them to each other, not to become someone else, but to learn how to see together. From that day on, Ostap showed what was small, and Ivan saw the depths and greatness within the small. Ostap showed what was large, and Ivan felt how it breathed from within, the tenderness and warmth hidden beneath massive forms. The world became layered, warm, alive. Because form without depth is dead, and depth without form is defenseless. But together they are life. And if you listen closely, perhaps somewhere inside yourself you will also find the lens through which you see the world, and begin to respect the different lenses of others.